I'd like to call the virtual full board meeting for July 12th to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and I can't hear anything.
Trish, can we have roll call, please?
Aldermen and women. King,
Here.
Stowe, Phipps,
Here.
Carr,
Yeah.
Cassetti,
He's here.
He's there. He's on mute.
Here.
Janetti,
Here.
Figueroa, Droman,
Here.
Yeoman,
Here.
Rivers,
Here.
Mamone.
Here.
Sure,
Here.
Blackwell, DeLibero.
Here.
11 present, 3 absent.
I declare a quorum. We have one set of minutes to consider. The meetings from the minutes from the regular meeting from June 8th, 2021.
Motion to accept. Oops, second.
Motion to accept by Rivers, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thanks. Public session. Opportunity for anyone from the public to speak. Just a quick reminder. My 3 rules. This is not a Q&A. Please limit your responses or statements to 3 minutes or less out of respect for the rest of the speakers and our agenda. And please identify your name and address for the public record. Would anyone from the public wish to speak tonight? Either shake your hands wildly or use the digital hands. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak tonight? Second call, anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
Yeah, I want to speak. How do you do it?
All right, so
Hello?
is this LBM?
Yes,
All right, so you can
yes,
please
no problem.
identify your name and address for the public record since we can't see you, and then go away.
I sure will. My name is Leonard Marazzi. I live at number 8 South Westwood Road here in Ansonia. And I would just like to take a minute to speak to the Board of Aldermen about an ongoing problem that we have that I'm sure you know is going on, but some 15 months ago, we reached out to our ZEO to find out about the rock crushing operation at 16 Riverside Drive that is being operated. That is an illegal rock crushing operation. We've met with not only our ZEO, but we also met with our city engineer above the site at the end of my street. We also have met with our local aldermen who have talked to the administration. And what I'd like to just know is
Wait, I don't know how.
Heather, mute your phone.
Okay.
I would just like the Board of Aldermen to, if someone or as a group, you could look into this operation. You know, we attempted to get some clarity on this some 15 months ago. We've been spinning our wheels. Earlier, as I lived here, we had a problem with Complete Construction back in 1998, who tried to run a rock crusher in our zoning laws as an illegal operation. It was appealed. Our ZEO at that time, Peter Crabtree, as well as the zoning board, upheld the regulations. Complete Construction appealed it to the state of Connecticut. The state of Connecticut confirmed that our zoning laws are correct and that there should not be any rock crushing equipment on the site. So in the last 15 months, we've been trying to get some clarity on that, trying to find out why this operation is going on. We have tried to meet at the zoning board as well as zoning board of appeals, but we've gotten nowhere. If any of the aldermen can get involved, look into it and try to get us some answers, I would appreciate that. Our latest that we have heard is that there's going to be a zone text amendment. And I don't know if that's true or not, but certainly we have we have a large number of people on both sides of the river that are being impacted by the noise, the dust, et cetera, from this operation. But my biggest concern is that it clearly states in our zoning regulations that it's an illegal, that you cannot have rock crushing equipment on the site, going on for 15 months. And, certainly I've been trying to work with local representatives, but I've gotten it nowhere. Thank you for that time.
Thank you, Mr. Marazi, for coming. And again, we don't want to get into like a back and forth, but I do want to give an opportunity to either city staff or the alderman to maybe provide you a quick update as to maybe where it stands or what the latest is.
If I can give you an update, Mr. President, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Can you see me too?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So, what's that?
Unfortunately, yes. We can stand here.
In a nutshell, we have a situation where the zoning regulations certainly prohibits rock crushing when it's done in the context of excavation, which is essentially digging right into the ground, into the property to perform rock crushing of the actual rocks and materials in the earth. But the regulations don't speak. They don't speak to rock crushing of material that's imported on site. And so the question, of course, is whether or not the ZEO properly gave a permit to a activity that he felt was part of the industrial zone, that he felt fell under a heavy industrial zone, which is, of course, what the property is zoned as. And as we know, every use, for example, in the commercial district is not delineated specifically. For example, it doesn't say that you can make grilled cheeses in a commercial zone, but yet it's, of course, understood that restaurants are in commercial zones and they make food. So the ZEO granted a permit to this business to do rock crushing that is not excavation related. And of course, the residents did bring, some residents did oppose that move. And specifically, one resident brought that to court. And that's actually exactly where the matter is pending right now, in an effort to try to sort of hopefully as a win-win for both sides, in an effort to sort of bring the residents, sort of address the residents' concerns. Burns Construction has moved for an amendment. And they've told City Hall, they reported to City Hall that they're doing it after communication and dialogue with the Residents' Council to try to come to some middle ground, to come to some solution where rock crushing can be conducted on the property in a way that safeguards residents. And of course, City Hall likes to hear that, as while we understand and respect the ZEO's decision and the businesses need to conduct business activities, we also understand quality of life issues. I want to make sure that any activity going on an industrial parcel is being done lawfully and with respect for those that live around it. So we're hoping that something good is going to come out of this, that Council for Burns is going to work well with the Residents' Council. And that's actually Andrew Marks. The name of the suit is Marks versus Ansonia. So you could actually look that up on the court webpage. So while it is a pending suit, it looks like there's a possibility it could be resolved short of trial in court. And that remains to, the application remains to be seen, but we understand that that's in the works from Burns Construction. And they've assured us that they're going to be reaching out to the Residents' Council on a way this could be done that works for both sides.
Great. Thank you for the update. Would anyone else from the public wish to speak tonight?
Yes, I'd like to speak. I don't know if you can hear me. Chris Rogers.
Yep.
I live at 7 South Westwood Road in Ansonia. I'd like to touch on the same subject. I live in the I'm one of the neighboring owners in the neighborhood. About 3 weeks ago, I took a video of the company down there working about 5:30 in the morning. Sent it to the ZEO, the mayor, and I believe Attorney Marini. I got a reply back from the ZEO that he was going to look into it. We have not heard anything since then. The hours that were issued on the permit are 7 to 5 p.m., 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They work all hours of the night in their tailgates. We've tried to, ask them to, negate the noise. It hasn't happened. So I just want to bring that up and put it on record that, they're not abiding by the permit that was issued by the ZEO for the hours that were issued to work in that yard. So, it is a disturbance. 2, 3, 4 in the morning, this company does emergency work. They come in the middle of the night, they slam their tailgate. They're making loud noises with their equipment and so forth. So I think this needs to be looked into. And like I said, I did get a reply back from the CEO that said he would look into it, but I have not gotten any answers. And this has been going on, as Len Marazzi just mentioned, this has been going on for 15, 18 months now, and still we have no answers. So obviously we're a little frustrated.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for coming and for sharing that. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak tonight to address the board? Anyone else who would like to speak in the public session? Third and final call. Anyone who wants to speak? Got a hand up. Brian Perkins, floor is yours.
Can you hear me okay?
It's a little muffled, but
Is that better?
we'll see when you start talking.
All right, guys. Well, Brian Perkins, 6 West Road, Ansonia, Connecticut. I just want to speak again, so we can get repetitive on the same issue of this rock crushing operation. But, going through the process and going through what we've heard tonight, there just doesn't seem to be anything really happening with this issue. And you would think, going forward with this, if there's going to be zoning regulation changes, if there's going to be anything to make this better for the residents, you would think that they should have to cease operations, currently until it gets resolved. They haven't done that. I've listened to many residents. They've emailed me, some are on this call tonight, to express their concerns to me and see if I can help in any way. And that's what I'm here to do tonight, is just to try to make this a better area to live in terms of the things that they have to deal with living there. As Leonard said, this issue has been brought up before in the past. It's been brought up with the past ZEO, and they enforce the law as it's written in the zoning regulations. This administration seems to think otherwise. I don't know why that's the case, but I think that the residents should be put in front of this development, just because they've lived there longer and their property values are being affected by this. Their way of life is being affected by this, and their peace is being affected by this. This is something that doesn't just affect the Fifth Ward either, residents around that area, but across the river as well. I get reports from people who live on the other side of the river who are woken up by the noise, by the vibrations, by the debris that flies because of this operation. So I really think the city should really look into making this better for everyone. Yes, I agree with Attorney Marini on that, but doing it in a way that's actually going to fix the issue instead of, putting a Band-Aid on it. And I just want to say, I am very grateful to Burns Construction for what they did for the park over in Gaddison, but putting a Band-Aid on an open wound doesn't fix it. They need to actually act on it, and they actually have to make this happen and have it be equitable for the residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. Anyone else from the public who wishes to address the Board of Aldermen tonight? Just scrolling around here. Anyone else who would like to speak in the public session?
Mr. President,
Yes.
can you tell Trish, and I'm sure Trish is here, that I'm not absent?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Was that your public session statement for the night?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I have
Charlie-
you here at
Charlie is
7:08.
here. Charlie's here. I got you.
Okay.
Third and final call, public session. Anyone from the public who wishes to address the board?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just want to note that for the residents in attendance around the Burns facility, the pursuit of that text amendment, which, as I mentioned, is an attempt by Burns to try to address the residents' concern, is a thoroughly public process. It will require a public hearing. So we feel that Burns is taking a step to, in a very transparent, very public way, do basically what needs to be done to bring the sides together and have a dialogue about how it could be rectified. In terms of that process, you'd see notice for a public hearing once the application is filed. And obviously anyone would be able to express their opinions, thoughts, concerns. When there is a draft of the text, comments from residents, from anyone could be given on that text. And again, the city kind of looking at both sides here, we see quality of life issues as absolutely vital. At the end of the day, that's all our residents have, right? And so we're hoping this step by Burns Construction could be a great step to meet halfway and to be able to address what our residents are concerned about. Also, in terms of the ZEO, we'll ask for a report on those other issues, the operating early in the morning, and see where he's gotten with that. And that may be discussed more at the next planning and zoning or ZBA meeting.
Thank you. All right, third and final call again. Anyone wants to address the board? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public session and we'll move on to the public official session. Mayor Cassetti.
President Sheward, members of the Board of Aldermen, residents of the great city of Ansonia. What a weekend we just had. This past Saturday, Nolan Field was rocking all day long with the music of the Beatles at the Fab Four Music Festival. And the very next day, Ansonia joined together with the town of Seymour to light up the sky above the valley with a spectacular fireworks display launched from the very top of Fountain Lake. I want to thank everyone who made this weekend possible, including our fantastic sponsors of Oak Ridge, Country Disposal, the Georgie Roofing and Siding, Road Ready Used Cars, and Farrell Corporation. I also want to extend a thanks to Seymour's first select woman, Anne Marie Dragonis, who proved that regional efforts can get residents more bang for their buck. Literally, this year's fireworks were some of the greatest ever, and that would not be possible without teamwork between our communities. Now I want to acknowledge Ansonia Police Chief Andrew Coda, who this past month announced his retirement from the department. Chief Coda has had an honorable 30-year career in law enforcement. He led our police force admirably through the COVID-19 pandemic and during a time of great change in policing nationwide. He also played an integral part in the construction of our new downtown police station. He met all challenges with flying colors. And at a time where some called nationwide to defund the police and carry the Ansonia Police Department to a higher level for the benefit of our officers and residents. Chief Coda, you will be missed. Good luck on your future endeavors, and remember that you will always have a place with the city of Ansonia. Next, I want to give you the Ansonia business update. Residents can expect to see Glitter Craze expanding its footprint downtown with an additional lease of the property formerly held by Aero Printers. Aero, of course, moved up to Upper Main Street. Also, we will be gaining a new Filipino restaurant, a new deli, and of course, Taco Central, a Mexican eatery that we have discussed before over the course of this summer. You will also be hearing much, much more about Anthony's Grub Pub and Hub, a tap house and entertainment venue that will be coming soon to Lower Main Street near the Riverwalk. Finally, we will be extending a big thanks to Griffin Hospital President Patrick Charmel and the entire staff at Griffin Health for their exemplary work during the COVID-19 pandemic. Look forward to a presentation later tonight that they're going to show you. Thank you, and God bless you all, and God bless the city of Ansonia.
Thank you, Mayor. Next up, Corporation Counsel John Marini.
Mr. President, members of the board, I hope everyone has heard the exciting news already about SHW and also Ansonia Copper and Brass. The city's gotten $1 million more to complete demolition at SHW. And also, you may have heard that the city's expecting another 2.5 million to do a rehab of the bridge that connects to Ansonia Copper and Brass. That is essentially the lifeline, the access point to the facility. And those grants, we want to stress, would not be possible without this board and the city putting skin in the game. The ownership of these sites is absolutely crucial to being able to put these funds, these applications for funds in and get approved. The city is doing what it needs to do. It's stepping forward and it's really taking the initiative and it's making absolutely all the difference. In terms of the ownership of Copper and Brass, we're right now proceeding in a tax auction process that should see the city owning the property probably late this year at the very latest, early spring, but we're hoping sooner than later. We're also talking directly to the property owner about a way of sort of shortcutting the process and working out a mutual transfer agreement, sort of like we did with SHW. We'll give you updates in August about where we get with that situation. I also want to talk about the Ansonia Opera House this evening. The Opera House, as some of you may know, is located at 100 Main Street, although you wouldn't know it by just looking at the facade. It's a little bit of a hidden secret to many that are new to town. It's actually Connecticut's oldest opera house, built in 1869. And it was actually the Valley's premier entertainment venue until our neighbors in Derby constructed and opened the Sterling Opera House in 1889. Until 1910, it was actually run by a private company called the Ansonia Hall Company. And now it's in the hands of the Konjerski family, Walter Konjerski being an Ansonia resident. It hosted over the years plays, operas, graduations, weddings, dancing, basketball games, roller skating, and even boxing. And it actually closed just about exactly 50 years ago in 1971. And since then, it's been dormant and used mainly for storage. I think, Josh, some drum lessons as well. Tonight, we're going to talk in executive session about a very interesting opportunity to breathe some new life into that venue. We're going to be discussing amongst the aldermen a deal that we're proposing that would allow the city to lease the former Opera House portions of that building in an arrangement that would enable grant funds to flow into both the exterior and the interior of the building for rehabilitation and possibly a revitalization of that facility. We really want to thank from the outset co-owner Walt Konjerski for considering this proposal, and also Anthony Mullen and his East Coast Photography Group, and also Gary Farrar for helping shed light on the Ansonia Opera House after all these years, and also helping to facilitate discussions with Walter about this. We have a lot of excited officials and volunteers, not only in the city, but in the general area, that would love to see the Ansonia Opera House start to return to life. I caution at the very beginning that this is a very, very long-term project. When we talk about the inside of this facility, we're nowhere near as far down the road as the Sterling Opera House was. But at the same time, it's very, very exciting to be able to make progress on what's been a long overlooked resource and really historic high point in the city of Ansonia. So we'll talk about that a little more in executive session. And finally, also in executive session, we're going to be talking about ratification of our proposed union contract with the Teamsters representing Public Works, our Public Works division. And I want to thank the Teamsters for their ratification of the contract. They ratified it about a month ago. We feel it's a real win-win for both the employees and the city, especially the taxpayers, as it's going to see the cost to the city for the Teamsters insurance plan start to decline and also stabilize over what could be a 6-year contract. So it's a very good savings and also great cost avoidance, a very stable contract versus other rates that are out there with other plans. So we'll talk more about that in executive session, but for now, I'll take any questions if you have them.
Any questions for Corporation Counsel tonight from the aldermen? All right, hey, you get off the hook early. Moving on, Economic Development Director Sheila O'Malley. You're on mute, I think.
Okay. Thank you, President Stewart, members of the Board of Aldermen. Quick update, trying to do a quick update for you. John had mentioned SHW 35 North Main Street. We had received an additional $1 million to help with our cleanup and demolition of that site. And I want to thank this board and Corporation Counsel John Marini for their willingness to push forward on and pave the way with the acquisition of that property, because it's really set the stage for what will be the demolition and eventual redevelopment of that property. In the next week or so, you will see the asbestos contractor out there cleaning up and making way for EPA to come in within 4 to 6 weeks to remove the tanks on that site. And that's all in preparation for demolition, which hopefully will occur this fall. State Street is being reviewed, and full design needs to be approved by DOT before we can go forward. No, we've been talking a long time about that project, but finally coming to an end with the review process and moving forward with the construction. We talk about American Recovery Act funding, and I just want to mention that the city has requested both on the state and regional level some ERA funding for WPCA to help mitigate their costs for some of the more emergent needs that they have, and to try to help defer any rate increase, which Mayor Cassetti does not want to, and I know the board does not want to increase the rates on the residents of Ansonia. So we're looking, we do have some avenues of funding which will help defer costs for WPCA, and we're hoping that's going to neutralize the rate for our taxpayers. We talk a lot about the Riverwalk. That should be, it's moving along. If you haven't been out there or seen the pictures, it really looks beautiful. And once the amenities are put in, you'll really see a beautiful extension of our Riverwalk. But we don't talk too much about our routing study, which was another grant that we received from DEEP. And that routing study, we've spoken with Anne Marie Dragonis, first select woman of Seymour, and she's agreed to talk to our engineers and perhaps collaborate on that routing study so we can make the connection between the two communities. Hopefully more good things coming between Ansonia and Seymour. John Marini talked about the Opera House, the Ansonia Opera House, and we did get a $5,000 small, but a $5,000 grant from Home Depot, for which we're grateful, and that might kickstart some of the exterior improvements to the Opera House. So more good things coming with that building. East Main Street, want to thank Chief Coda and the police department and the fire department as well for their cooperation. In about 2 weeks, first you'll see signs being erected. Chief Coda has a template for signs that will alert residents and others passing on East Main Street that it will be turning into a one-way or will be diverting traffic. So you will see that in the next couple of weeks. I think that's it for now.
Are there any questions for Sheila from the Aldermen tonight?
Yes, Josh.
Yep.
Sheila, would you give an update on what's going on at the senior center, please?
Yes, thanks for the reminder, Diane. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, there's a bid opening. The initial bid was amended. We made some changes to that, to those bid specs, and the bid opening will be at 3 o'clock, and we won't award the bid at such time, but looking to award the bid shortly, and then construction will give you an estimate on that as soon as we figure out what contractor and we award the bid. Thank you, Diane.
And Alderwoman Stroman, for those interested in the regionalization effort with Derby, Derby's advised us that they are scheduling an additional informational session for their residents and Board of Aldermen. As I believe, Diane, we've talked about, we have not gotten a date yet, but we'll let this entire board know when we do.
Okay.
And John, I'll note that there was that original information session in Ansonia at the Armory, and that was pretty well attended by, at least by our aldermen and the seniors from both communities. So thank you. Any other questions for Attorney Marini tonight from the aldermen? Nope. All right, you get off the hook easy too. All right, moving on. I don't see Chief Cota, but I see Lieutenant Williams with the best background of the night. You win. So we're
Yeah, that's great.
All right, good evening. Yeah, as the mayor mentioned, Chief Cota has announced his retirement and he is on vacation this week. So I am taking care of some of his jobs, and this is one of them. So just a couple of things to note. Obviously, the mayor talked about July 4th fireworks. From the police side, we had no issues other than everybody seemed to launch all of their fireworks on one night. So we were quite busy that night, not the city fireworks. I want to bring you up to date that today, actually, this morning, we made a final arrest in, you'll go back to July of 2019. There was a exchange of gunplay on Howard Avenue at the corner of Franklin in the middle of the day. We've made the third of the 3 arrests today. So all suspects have now been arrested in that case. And they are, at least the main shooter in that case, is incarcerated. We also have coming up this Saturday, there is a kickball event at Nolan Field in the morning. It is a event that was kind of co-sponsored between the Valley Save Our Youth, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Ansonia Police Department. So if you want to find something to do on Saturday, feel free to come on out and watch that. The officers will not be kicking the ball, but they will be coaching the teams. Just so you're aware where we are with staffing wise, we have hired a lateral transfer from the Bridgeport Police Department, Kathleen Ramirez. She has been sworn in. She's currently in her FTO process. So we hope to have her on the road towards the end of the month. And in retrospect, Officer Landana from our agency retired as of yesterday. He had announced his retirement a couple of weeks ago, and he has retired from law enforcement as of yesterday. We currently have 5 openings that we are testing both certified and non-certified candidates for. And we have 2 other officers who have announced that they're going to retire this year. They just haven't given us the specific dates yet. Just to keep you up to date, we'll probably be coming before you in the next meeting in August, if not the September meeting. Last year, for those of you that were aldermen, you'll remember that we had entered into an agreement with Axon for a 5-year contract for our body cams. Unfortunately, that was prior to the police accountability bill being passed. And with the police accountability bill being passed, Axon and the police department and the city are going to be rewriting basically that contract. So we've honored the first year of the contract, but we're going to have to enter into a new contract with them because we need to increase the body cams for the officers, and we also need to put in-car cameras into the cars. So those costs, unfortunately, did not come with any funding at this point from the accountability bill that we have access to, but they were put into our budget that you approved. So I know we had talked about that, but we do have to sign a contract with them. So we think we have everything worked out, and we're going to be looking to get that taken care of either in the August or September meeting, and that'll help fall in line with where we were with the first year of that contract that we did last year. And then lastly, there was a meeting at the intersection of Pulaski and Prindle last week. Sheila, the mayor, myself, a resident, DOT, et cetera. We were kind of come up with some solutions on some accidents that occur there on a couple of year basis. DOT has come up with some solutions on their side and some other ideas that we're all trying to come up with to increase lighting and the signage up there on that street. So Sheila, I just sent you over an email about an
So
hour.
I responded.
Okay, all right. So just so you're aware, that's where we are. I don't have
Thank
anything
you.
else unless somebody has questions for me.
I have a question. So,
Okay.
do we have an estimate on what that additional cost is going to be for Axon?
So we have been paying roughly 32, let's say 32 to $35,000 a year for our current body cam system, and we're going up to roughly $80,000.
All right.
We're working with them to try and keep down some of the costs, but between the cameras, our in-car cameras, which we don't have at all, and the storage is really where the costs are. But this is the company that we've had. We currently have about 4 years worth of data stored on their system. So they've done everything they can to help us out whenever we need it. So they're not going to make us honor, obviously, this current contract. They're going to let us rewrite it, and we'll look back with figures. But we've budgeted $80,000 in our budget, and we should be under that.
I don't see anybody on from finance. Oh, Rich is on. Rich, I don't know if, are we keeping track of this stuff in terms of additional cost that's coming as a result of this bill?
Specifically, I don't know. I think Kurt is more involved with it and he's not available this week, but we can bring it up and make sure we meet up with the lieutenant and start tracking it if we need to do this. But we have enough good records that I think just discussing it, we'll be able to backtrack to it.
Okay. All right. I'll send a note to Kurt too, just so, we can kind of keep tabs on what kind of issues this bill financially is going to cause us. So thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Just to clarify, so that we're all on the same page, this is this 5-year contract will have the same payments each year. It's not, that we buy all the materials this year and then we just pay storage. They're allowing us to spread out the cost over the 5-year period. So it's basically going to be somewhere around $300,000 over the 5-year period for the cameras.
So it's an installment plan essentially, which I think is what I was aware of. I was just kind of trying to determine, or at least trying to track what sort of monetary impact that this accountability bill is having on the residents. So thank you.
Yeah, this is just one part of it, obviously.
Understood. Yeah, there's
we've had between training and testing and all of the parts of the bill haven't even come in yet. So
understood.
Some of those some of those are still coming in, and there's some the CALIA stuff is going to be a big bill at the end.
Yeah, and it phases in. I think every couple of years there's some nuances that tip in with it, but I just want to make sure. I'll send it to Mr. Miller to make sure that we have that not only for the body cams, but also the additional certification, training, and all the other pieces of that are have a monetary implication here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think there's a lot of components to that bill that you can't measure that will have a negative effect on the community.
Right.
As well.
I think monetary though is something you can measure. It's not all about the money, but it definitely has the most immediate impact if it's unfortunately hitting people in the pocket. So we'll at least want to see some numbers or some tracking, some analysis on what it's going to cost us.
Just to add to it, just so you know, I know that the state had come out with, and Sheila, you may know more about this, the state had come out with some funding for the police accountability bill, but I think they had come up with a figure, and don't quote me, but it was somewhere around $4 million, but that wasn't going to cover, you're talking about major cities that have 400 to 500 police officers. It wasn't going to cover nearly anything.
No. That's right.
Yeah, so it'd be good. It'd be good based on what Ansonia is given of that $4 million pot. What sort of percentage is that? In terms of a reimbursement for what the impact is.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very small, as Lieutenant said.
Oh, as do I.
And also, again, you can't measure quality of life issues. So,
I do have one other question. For the openings that we do have, you said we're getting some, I think you said some, I forget the two classifications of officers that you were getting. Are we getting a decent amount of applicants, or are we not? Is it kind of, we're struggling to get applicants?
So there are, what the terms I use were certified and non-certified.
Okay.
So certified are people who are police officers in other towns,
Yep.
and that we can pull from another agency, poach, if you
Yep.
want to call it, from another agency. It makes it much quicker for us to get them on the road. Non-certifieds are people who have never been a certified police officer, so they have to go through our process. Then they have to go to a 7-month academy and then a 3-month FTO program, as all required by the state. So it is much quicker than 10 months to get somebody on within a month. I will tell you that our numbers for recruitment are extremely low. That is not. That is not. Oh, somebody's talking. That is not a Ansonia problem. That is a statewide problem. We are talking to other agencies and other police departments about the same issue. We increased our recruitment. We tried to go out to different areas where we think we could find people. I will tell you that on average, when we would put out a recruitment drive for non-certified, we would get anywhere, usually around 300 to 400 people that would apply. We got 80. So, but that is, I just talking to Bridgeport, they usually get about 1,500 to 2,000. They got 400 in their recruitment drive. So there is definitely a lack of some candidates.
And finally, I just wanted to say welcome to the new officers that have been sworn in. So stay safe out there.
All right, thank you. Anything else for me?
Any other questions for Lieutenant Williams from the Alderman? All right, I just want to say thank you for your work on the Pulaski Brindle issue, which has been, I think, my whole lifetime in the city, and also for your efforts pushing for the meeting at Gaddison, which I know you've been corralling everybody together from the city to the aldermen to the police and everything, and in the residents themselves. So that upcoming meeting, I'm sure, will be very much appreciated by those that live in that area. So thank you.
Yes.
All right, and so ends the public official session. Moving on to committee reports. Finance Committee. Charlie, hit it.
No, I'm all set. Thank you. I have not any questions.
Finance Committee, anything?
No,
I got you, Charlie. I'll make a motion to pay all bills if deemed correct.
There we go.
There you
Motion
go.
to pay all bills by Alderman Mamon. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thanks. Do we have any other committee reports from the Alderman? Temporary regional schools, Joe?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick report on that and a quick report on ordinance. Temporary regional, we did have a meeting at the end of June, updated the numbers, which certainly changed things. It's more of an apples to apples comparison. We did have to cancel due to attendance our first meeting in July. We will have another meeting as we're doing 2 a month now at the end of this month. It's currently scheduled for, what is it, the 27th at 7:30. So I encourage everybody to come out. We're starting to get into the sort of the meat and potatoes of the finances. So it's getting down to it whereby we're going to have some fruitful discussions on that end, the equalization portion, and then once again, doubling back to governance, which we've done once before. So with regards to ordinance, we did have an ordinance meeting in June. One of the discussions was sort of the loud mufflers that's been occurring all over town. So we had a discussion with Chief Coda. I'm sure we're going to carry on that conversation as well. Yeah, we have not rescheduled. I know we were waiting on some feedback from Attorney Marini. I'm sure we'll hear from them, and then we'll get another meeting scheduled with regards to that.
Thank you
Joe,
for
are you moving forward with the landlord? The landlord,
Yep, there was
Ordinance.
that was discussed as well. Thanks, Sheila, for reminding me of that.
Yep.
We discussed that as well. That's one of the other things that we had some fruitful discussions on. There were some things that we discussed with John about making some revisions, and I know that we were supposed to get some feedback at this month for our next ordinance meeting. So I imagine at some point in time, we're going to have that as voted out of ordinance and get to the full board.
that'd be great.
Yep.
Excellent.
any other committee updates, committee reports from the Aldermen?
Hey, Josh, just a statement. Tax collection, final year where we ended up for collection was 97.81, which was almost a half a point higher than the prior year for total collection. And it was almost 0.2 of a point higher than pre-COVID times. So just a moment to announce that and to make folks aware that, that the tax collector is doing a pretty darn good job here, and the tax collection rate, we're at kind of an all-time high here. So kudos to her.
Thanks for pointing that out, Tony. All right, moving on to municipal reports. We have the vote recommendations and comptroller approvals for the month from the July 6th, 2021 meeting.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept by Alderman Cassetti,
Second.
second by Stroman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
One abstention. Phipps?
Yep.
And motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
could we drift back to the fire commission report? That's your ball of wax, I think.
Fire commission report. Did we get one in our packet?
No, I just coincidentally, as I'm sitting here and participating in the meeting, the tone went off and there's another call at 63 Woodlawn Avenue. And I'm sure you're aware of the fact that we've got a serious situation up there. I think this is the second one today. And as you well know, I don't know if there's anything being done about it, or is there something that can be done, but it scares the living bejesus out of me. The amount of apparatus that we're rolling and the amount of times that we're rolling, and eventually bad things happen. And I was wondering if there's anything that we can do about it.
Yeah, we did discuss that, I think at the last fire commission meeting, maybe 2 meetings ago, and actually Alderman Cassetti, Commissioner Cassetti, had requested the actual call numbers from that address, from Woodlawn, and they gave that to us. Joe, do you remember what that was? Like, it was basically one a day average, 30 for the month, maybe?
I thought that was
Yeah,
with the average.
to date, it's at least 100.
Yeah. So we have had some discussions, both within the fire commission and with the city about, possible solutions on that. And I see Sheila has her hand up. Do you want to speak on this? Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Just briefly, I had mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. We are applying for HUD funds, small city funds for modernization of that building. So that includes all, upgrades to all of the fire and sprinkler system and elevators. And I think Jared's on the line, so he probably could talk more about some of those improvements that we're hoping to make. That's $1.5 million, $1.5 million grant for that project. And just one quick thing, Eagle Hose, we are all set and ready to go to repair that floor. Waiting on there's a big event in August and waiting on that event, and then we'll take steps to start moving towards epoxying that floor. Just wanted to update you. Forgot about that. Sorry.
Thank you. And that's from old referendum money, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we just switched it over for, to a higher need in the fire department.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up, Alderman Phipps. And I know you attend most of those commission meetings, so you hear the comments regarding, the unfortunate number of calls that come from there. All right, let's move back into municipal reports. Let me catch my bearings here. Land use report for the month of May and the month of June. We have
Rhonda's trying to get on now. Sorry.
okay. Well, let's look at these reports.
Yeah.
First, we have the month. We got two in the packet. The May 2021 report. We have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Yaman,
Yeah.
Second.
second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? All right, and then the June report as well.
Motion approved.
Motion by Yaman. Who's that? Second by Rivers.
Yes.
All in favor for June?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can you ask Mr. Marino to mute himself? A lot of
Michael
background.
Marino is the one that's got the good feedback from.
Thank you.
And I just want to point out for the June report that the total revenue from July to June 2021 is $418,388, and the revenue for June alone was $42,952.34.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so they're doing a good job. All right. Those are done. Tax collector report and request for refunds. I will echo Alderman Mamone in that in addition to the tax collection rate, I love these tax collectors reports that we get that are incredibly detailed, easy to read, ton of information. And anytime we've had any comments or suggestions for improvement or anything, when I reached out, we always get good answers back. So thanks for that. But we have the tax collector's report and the request for refunds in the amount of $1,063.72. Anybody?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Yaman, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries unanimously. Under accidents and claims, we have 3 claims. Claim number 0621-1009, Chippy's Service Station LLC versus Ansonia ZBA, RE 136 Wakely Avenue. 0621-1010, Jason St. Jake's RE vehicle damage, and 0621-1011, Chippy's Service Station LLC versus City of Ansonia Board of Assessment Appeals regarding the same address, RE 136 Wakely Avenue.
Motion to refer all.
Refer to corporate counsel.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Tar, second by, who was the second there?
Me.
Mamone?
Mamone.
All right, to refer to Corporation Council, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right, we'll refer those on. We have 2 communications. All right, let me get some paperwork here. So communication number 1 is a letter from resident Bartholomew Flaherty III of 28 Pinecrest Avenue. This was a request to expressing interest in purchasing the Samuel Abate or Abate property. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's located at 31 South Street. When I got this letter, I remembered that Abate property name, and I went back and looked, and you guys probably remember this as well. This came up in the I want to say October 13th meeting of last year. And there was a resident, Dave, I'm losing the last name.
Dave McDermott.
McDermott, who also requested to buy that property from the city. When he requested to purchase the property, we asked for an 824 referral from planning and zoning. And then I requested the 824 for 31 South Street. And what I received back from planning and zoning was a letter, and I was reading through, it was kind of confusing because it was suggesting that the city buy the property. And then I looked at the date, and this 824 was dated August 1998. So there was not a new 824 was not done. This was actually encouraging the city to buy the property, which the city did buy at some point after that. So the city owns it, and now we have two separate residents who are interested in buying this city-owned property. So considering that there was not an 824 conducted modern day, my suggestion would be that we ensure that actually one gets done, and then we'll move from there. So I don't know if there's any objections to that, or just want to make a motion.
move.
Yep, motion to ensure that an 824 gets done on 31 South Street. So moved by, who was that, Cassetti?
Yes.
Second by Phipps. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, motion carries. And I'll make sure I hawk that one to make sure it gets done. All right. Motion communication 2 is from the Ansonia Fire Department. This is from the Fire Chief, Daniel Mudry. This was a request. The fire chiefs and officers were given a tour of 65 Main Street. They were requesting some space for the officers on the lower floor in 65 Main Street in the municipal area. And so respectfully requesting that the mayor's office and the Board of Aldermen consider allocation for office space for the 5 fire chiefs and the fire marshal. And just as a sort of heads up, there's a few of you that are on the fire commission, a few of you that are firemen. But the fire marshal is currently in the upper back floor of the Hilltop Hose house, and the chief is in the back, that building that you see at the back of the dump down at Public Works. They're kind of spread around. So what's your pleasure on this?
I'd like to make a motion to allocate six offices at 65 Main Street to the 5 fire chiefs and the fire marshal.
Second.
Could I offer an amendment to that motion?
So we have a motion by Yaman, a second by Cassetti, and then we'll open up for discussion here. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay. I saw it, and I've got no this or that about it, except that I was wondering if it's this decision at this point is still in the bailiwick of the building commission, the police building commission. I in my own mind, I don't know when it comes back into our domain as to when the police commission gives it up. That was my only observation. No problem. I think there's room down there, but it was just the procedure that I was challenging myself.
Yeah, that's
Well,
actually.
I can just briefly address that if that's okay, Mr. President.
Yeah.
I know during the tours that I've had over there, I brought it up to both the chief as well as the members of the police building commission. That was sort of always the plan, with 30,000 additional square feet on that second floor, some of it being allocated to the senior center and things like that. I know the chiefs have been, have asked me and Josh and Joe multiple times about the allocation of some of that space up there to allow them to sort of modernize the department and get them out of the less than ideal accommodations, as the chief put it, and make sure that they have access to some of the modern technology, such as, internet and things like that in that new building. So I think it kind of works. So I'm just asking everybody to support it.
Can I make a suggestion or whatever? But we have Tenor Construction as the city rep, representing the post-police project. And so that would be the senior center and everything else, I'm assuming, right? Future facing. So my guess is that we would, if we decide to approve this, it would go to them in consultation with the city as to how they're going to pull that off. I think they're just looking for at least to look at this hurdle as far as the aldermen looking at it, and then I think we would probably push this to Tenor and the mayor's staff at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a motion in a second. Any other discussion? Do we want to vote on this? All right. So motion to approve.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Thank you, guys. We have next up, we have 3 resignations. 2 from Domenico Filippone. The first one was a resignation from position of boat committee.
Motion to accept and send a letter of thank you.
Motion
Second.
by Mamone, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right, second letter also from Mr. Filippone, resigning from position on the WPCA board.
Motion to accept and send the letter of thanks for his service.
All right, motion by Mamone, second by Yaman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right, motion carries. And then the third resignation is from Amy Ziner, Park Ranger 3 with the Nature Center.
Motion to accept the resignation and send her a letter of thank you. Just a note, she was pretty decorated for the documentation that she sent. So she has some, fantastic results and accomplishments. So just kudos to her.
Yeah, that's probably the best resignation letter I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd hire her back if we could.
That's the new model for resignation letters. But thank you for service. A motion to accept that letter by Alderman Mamone. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderwoman Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? Perfect. Okay, we have,
Josh, I didn't get any of that.
what do you mean you didn't get it?
I didn't get it because I've been kicked out of the internet for the past 5 minutes. I just rejoined with my phone.
Okay, so were you in resignations?
No, I got nothing. I got nothing since the fire commission discussion.
Oh,
So I'm going to have to look at the recording
okay, that's fine.
to get that part. Okay?
Yes, actually, that was the only thing that we've covered is the 3 resignations, and I can get you the names of the motion and the seconder.
All right.
And the fire commission approval for the offices.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They did approve it.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
unanimously.
Sorry, guys.
No worries, Trish.
Okay, so now we'll move on to resolution number 1. So there's just 2 resolutions. Resolution 1, this is our favorite one. We see this one every year. This is the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. This is authorizing the mayor as the mayor to sign all needed documents. We do this every year at this time.
Make motion.
Motion by Rivers, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, everybody, for that. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Welcome.
Business as usual. Resolution number 2 is a resolution approving an easement regarding retaining wall easement for 22 Silver Hill Road. We've talked about this before, and I'm going to ask Corporation Counsel to speak to the documents we received. You got a little packet with resolution 2.
Sure, we talked about this before. This is a property owner that was doing improvements, and the improvements would spill over onto city property. There was actually a petition in support of these improvements, and we understood that the intention was to help a disabled resident. We in fact talked to that property owner making the improvements at our last meeting. And so of course we advised that the correct way to go about this was to get an 824 referral, which I believe was obtained and it was positive. And of course to draft an easement, making clear that we knew where his responsibility with this property begins and ends. And you have in front of you the easement for the purposes of creating and maintaining this improvement on the city property. So that would carry forward with the land, and I'm satisfied that that's in the best interest of the city here.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution number 2.
Motion approved, second by Rivers. Any discussion on this resolution 2?
Josh, it's Beth. I just wanted to check with John. Will you be preparing an easement to be recorded on the land records as well?
Exactly. So this will be finalized, executed, likely by the mayor or myself, and recorded onto the Ansonia land records.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions on this? All right, thank you for your work on this. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, we have no appointments this month. We have no new ordinances. Joe, did you mention when the next ordinance meeting was, or it hasn't been scheduled?
We were waiting for some feedback from council, and once we have that, we'll set the date and I'll let the committee members know and the full board.
Okay. All right, under new business, we have a few items. Number 1 is the VHB inspection bid waiver. Sheila, do you want to speak to that briefly? You're on mute, by the way.
Sorry. I spoke for about 10 minutes straight. VHB has did the design work for East Main Street. And typically I like to have the engineers who do the design to also do the inspection. So there's continuity, and of course they know how they want certain things done with respect to East Main Street. And so I'm hoping to make an addendum to their design contract, which we currently have in place. And this would be for inspection services, 82,000, I believe 395. I don't have the number in front of me, but I think that's the number.
83,895.
83.
Yeah.
So I'm asking this board for a waiver to save both time and money, and also to accomplish, what I'm hoping to accomplish, which is having oversight from the engineering firm that did the design work.
Second.
Motion to accept by Alderman Cassetti, second by Mamone. Any other discussion on this? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And thank you for that explanation.
Thanks, everyone.
New business number 2 is revaluation bid discussion and possible action. I'm going to go back to Attorney Marini for this one.
So this is the bid that goes out to solicit for our reval company. I had a discussion with our assessor, David Graybosch, about this. The issue is that this went out to bid for 10 days and we only got one response, which is our previous revaluation company. We feel in the interest of generating some more competition for this very, very vital service that has extreme consequence for taxpayers, for property owners, that we cancel and terminate this bid and go back out for a longer period of time. I would recommend a period of at least 15 to 30 days to solicit a more competitive selection. We really want to compare and contrast options this time around. And as of date, we have no options other than our prior reval company. Of course, it's always possible that they could remain the sole bidder, but given the 10-day cycle that it was on before, and I know to where it was advertised, I don't think it's surprising that there was only a single bid. So we'd like to go back out for a more competitive selection here.
We did not accept the current bid that came in, correct?
No, it is not accepted. So it would be rejected in the best interest of the city, and we would go back out to bid. It would be rejected without prejudice.
And they can reapply, correct?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
And
So
can
Bill-
I ask one question? What's our time frame on accepting a bid and getting this in place, John?
The reval is happening next year. There is certainly sufficient time to go back out to bid. So time is not a worry here. And but we would proceed, we'd proceed pretty expeditiously here. We likely would go back out within the next week or so.
Sure, but we're not up against any impending.
No,
bid.
not at all.
All right, good. Okay.
Can I make a motion to reopen this, cancel the current bid, reopen the bidding process to a term that is acceptable to the assessor?
Second.
Motion by Mamone, second by Stowe. All in favor of rejecting the bid and going back out to bid? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And thanks for the explanation on that. Third item is we received a application from the soon to be new business Taco Central LLC. And this was for a short-term loan to do some renovation and demolition. I don't know that this actually fits under it's on the application for the facade improvement, but I don't, because it's a new business, I would think they would be doing this directly through the city as part of their getting up to speed. Is that incorrect to think that, or no?
They've submitted in connection with the program, and they certainly are eligible as a business in town that's looking to improve their facade. So our recommendation is approval of this application.
Okay, is this application complete? Not like
Yes,
the
it
other one got?
We had a series of incomplete applications about 6 months to a year ago, but this application is in fact complete.
Chicago, did you see this photo, man?
No, but John, we didn't have a meet. I thought we would meet on it.
So those previous applications were incomplete, and we followed back up for information, which was unfortunately for the applicants never provided.
John,
So those applications were basically one company, I think, one business eventually left the city. The other just never followed up even after repeated inquiries.
John, good point. Alderwoman Stroman was trying to say that this should have went to the committee first.
That was my question initially, was there's a facade committee. Does this fall under a facade committee, or because it's a business that this is part of like their full project of getting to open, they're not actually fixing, it's not an existing business. Does it need to go to the facade committee, or should it?
Because time seemed to be of an essence here. The owner wanted to get things in place to move along. We figured we'd bring it to the full board without
That's not what we should
taking
be
that step.
doing, John. If you have a committee, it should go through your committee. And if there's a time element, then at least you talk to the committee and see what their time element may be to be able to review it. I mean, I wouldn't vote on it because I haven't really reviewed it, because I just felt as though it should have been through the committee. And I had questions about it being a new business. We don't even know how long they're going to be in existence. They're not even up and running yet. And I mean, if we give it to them, why aren't we giving it to everybody on Main Street that's opening up a new business?
They can't make out their applications, that's why.
But it's open to all those who make applications. It becomes very competitive if we have an influx of applications. Thus far, however, I note that usually they trickle in one at a time. You know, it's something fortunately that the businesses have not had to fight over. We've always had funds when applications have been made to put them to good use.
So we've done this before with new owners.
Right, that's what I was gonna ask.
Well, I just remember we had
Yes.
one on Main Street that we did, and I think we said we we didn't get our money back. So I'm just saying.
There are a minority, I think you're talking about the Tracy's Antiques that we had to pursue action against. However, the majority we've recovered without having even to remind the businesses. And they've been very appreciative at the opportunity to use those funds to enhance the exteriors of the buildings.
So, the question I got is that, is this for existing and new businesses?
Oh, yeah, there's no
Yes.
distinction made between existing or new business. It's simply, are you an Ansonia business? Do you have the permission of your property owner? And are you presenting a viable plan that makes sense to the city of Ansonia? Is it something that the city would be willing to fund? And the intention here is definitely exterior improvements that enhance the aesthetics of our
And
downtown.
I would ask, and Alderman Stroman, you're right. The correct process is to go through your subcommittee, but I would ask on behalf of Jose Lara for an expedited approval of this loan application for a couple of reasons, because, you know, he's emerging, we are all emerging from this COVID-19 epidemic. And he's brave enough to start a new business and a new restaurant. And also because, as John had mentioned, the timing is such that he needs to make those changes to the exterior of the building in order to get it up and running quickly. And not to say he can't afford it, but it's probably, you know, smarter if he could use somebody else's money, I would imagine. So I would just request an expedited approval if you're going to.
Can I ask a question of the board? I know, Diane, you said you didn't get a chance to review this. Has anybody reviewed the information that was sent on this?
I did. How soon could we get it through the facade committee? I mean,
Wait,
if
hold
it's
on.
timing of the essence.
Hold on. Josh, can I make a motion to waive sending this to the facade committee? We're spending a lot of time talking about it. If folks have reviewed the application, I make a motion to waive sending it to the facade committee and
Second.
dealing it now.
Second.
Can I just make a comment, though? I just think.
Let's waste time after we do it with.
Well, Charlie, I just want to make the point that I'm okay with this, dealing with this and waiving it because I reviewed this particular application. But in the future, I think we should also make sure that all of these applications are going to the facade committee before they come to the full board, so we don't run into this problem again. So that's contingent upon.
Yeah.
I just say, every future application should go through committee.
This has happened to the committee many times over the past years, ever since we had the facade meeting, the first one.
Yeah. And also
on occasion it happens, and now we're living it. It's happening now, and we need to make a motion to either.
We have the motion.
And I
Mr. President,
second.
we have the motion in a second.
Let's
vote on it, and that's it. You're going to argue with it after.
It was just a discussion point, Charlie.
Yep.
All right, so motion by Mamone to waive the normal process and to accept, second by Stowe. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Oppose.
I'm gonna vote against that as well.
I am too. Abstain.
All right, two noes and one abstention, and motion passes. Good luck to them. All right.
Very good luck. I want one already.
All right, I see our guest is here. Do we want to hit that before we go into old business, or? Yep,
we could do that.
all right. So take it away, John.
Okay, so I'm going to do a screen share here, and I think everyone is on the line that needs to be from our guests from Griffin Health. Hold on, I just need to set this up. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. First, on behalf of course, the Board of Aldermen and the mayor and his staff, we want to thank Griffin President Patrick Charmel and his team for being with us tonight. And we want to take this opportunity and use this presentation to recognize just how valuable a partner Griffin has been to Ansonia and really the rest of the valley over the last year. Of course, as you're all aware, Griffin Hospital has always been there for our community. To have a hospital located right in our backyard is obviously a huge advantage, a big source of pride, and it's been very critical for the health and safety of our residents. We're very lucky to have Griffin. But that relationship got a lot more critical, a lot more important over the past year and more when COVID swept across the country and across Connecticut and the valley. As you know, the valley was hit particularly hard and at times was put into the red zone. And at that time, access to health providers, access to testing, reliable testing, and eventually vaccines became absolutely essential. But we're lucky that in the case of Griffin, they did so much more. And this past year, Pat Charmel and his team kicked off a very innovative and ambitious mobile vaccination effort that would really be a model in many ways for the rest of the state and maybe even country. And at the bottom line, made it a lot easier for Valley residents to keep themselves and their families and friends safe. And in an unprecedented partnership that we really want to spotlight, and that I'm sure as all of you know, Griffin approached the city about a mobile clinic, a vaccination clinic at the Ansonia Armory. And of course, Mayor Cassetti and his entire team were very, very excited and jumped at the opportunity to partner with Griffin Health on that initiative. The clinic was a true community effort, from staff to volunteers, to residents here in Ansonia and beyond, banding together to spread the news about our Vax the Valley effort and about the opportunity to get vaccinated right here in town at Griffin. We had community partners from the media, including the Valley Independent Sentinel sounding the word, radio stations like 94.3 WYBC, broadcasting the message far and wide. And of course, all our friends on the internet and Facebook, on the community forums, really spreading the word about what was going on here at the Armory. We had wonderful support, not only from these community members, but also from Ansonia staff that really enjoyed the opportunity to partner with Griffin staff and enjoyed and really relished this opportunity to play a part in this process. Like example, Jeff Coppola, who's come to be known now as Vaccine Jeff, being a scheduler, and of course working under the direction and overall supervision here of Monica Orris from Griffin, who was absolutely instrumental in coordinating this whole project and making sure we were open at the times we needed to be open and attracting the residents we needed to attract. We also had help from great community organizations, from our own ARMS, Ansonia Rescue Medical, to Team Incorporated, banding together to make the most of this project. Griffin also coordinated great community outreach with community leaders like Reverend Alfred Smith, making direct appeals to the community, encouraging them and giving them confidence to go out to the clinic and to receive the vaccination. And at the end of the day, it was a huge success. We had residents and beyond Ansonia coming to the Ansonia Armory, receiving their first and second vaccines, and even some familiar faces there at the Armory getting their shots. And the stats bear that out. Very impressive, the community impact we've had. 4,166 people vaccinated at the Armory between the city of Ansonia and Griffin Health. You can see those statistics broken down from February to May, June. And in total, by comparison, you see the total number of Ansonia residents vaccinated from January to June. And truly, we don't believe that we'd have this impact, that we would have this reach, that we would have been able to positively impact our Ansonia community without Griffin's partnership, without their presence in the community, and without going further and actually utilizing the armory in this way. So a spectacular success. And of course, with Griffin, it doesn't end just there. Their testing continues at Griffin Hospital, and it continues to be a very, very convenient resource and critical resource for keeping track of the virus. And of course, also the dialogue that we've been able to have with Griffin right in our backyard. You'll remember the community forum that we were able to host with President Charmel and his team, and also our administration, opening this up to the residents for questions. Dr. Brown being able to answer infectious disease questions and questions about the vaccine. So we really were able to have a substantive dialogue that would have been impossible without Griffin in our community. And of course, we've gotten many, many compliments, and Griffin and through us, Griffin has gotten those compliments. The mayor's office had been, the phone had been ringing off the hook ever since we started, but Facebook sort of bears witness to that. Any of the posts you can see deluged with positive comments, people being very encouraged by what was going on. Many of them trying to volunteer, looking for ways to get involved themselves. So this was truly one of those opportunities where our city came together for a good cause. And so we want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to Pat. Thank you to Monica. Thank you to the entire team from the ground level, those administering the shots, to those back in the office. And we left a little present with Griffin Hospital earlier this morning. We left a little bag that the mayor put together for you. And so Pat and Monica, we have 2 gifts for you, what you and Pat, and also one for your team. And you can go ahead and open those now, if you have them.
I do. The suspense was killing me. Oh, look at that, Monica. It's a key of the city.
Oh, nice. I always wanted one of those.
Wow.
That's
But
awesome.
it's a key to the city, not necessarily to the armory, but I think it does work on some doors.
That's great. Thank
I
you.
think this means you don't have to pay all those parking tickets that you got now, Monica.
That's right. Hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's great.
Well,
And
go ahead,
Pat,
Bob.
I'll turn it over to you.
Well, it has been a fantastic partnership. I think really a model for other municipalities. I know that they're envious what we were able to accomplish in the city of Ansonia. John gave you some statistics there. Again, about 4,100 individuals were vaccinated at the Armory, and that's out of about 7,900 total. So more than half of the vaccines administered across the city actually occurred in the Armory, and Monica led that effort. And her effort at the Armory and in other locations around the city actually was the inspiration for the mobile vaccination program that the state developed in concert with Griffin. There are 35 mobile vaccination teams vaccinating all over the state. They've done more than 1,000 clinics and have vaccinated about 30,000 individuals. And really, it was the inspiration provided by Ansonia. So I want to publicly thank Monica. She has done remarkable work, is a great leader, and she has a fantastic team. And I want to thank Jeff Coppola too. He was very dedicated, not only being our host at the Armory, but the outreach effort that he accomplished. To think that we were able to do 700 vaccinations in a single session at one of those clinics. That is the highest number that we achieved in any offsite clinic to date across the state. So kudos to Jeff and everybody else at the city, and we really appreciate the partnership. Monica, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I will just say that, we started this journey in February, and I won't forget, it was a call from Jeff and Jared, both who said, listen, we really have a great need. Can we partner? Can we get a clinic going at the Armory? We did also another clinic down the road at Macedonia Baptist Church that you mentioned, and also at 70 Woodlawn, which is a low-income complex. And after we did that, we said, geez, we were so successful at the Armory with such a perfect open space and great parking and a great location. Jared and Jeff said, can we keep this going? And we said, absolutely. It was just a really great model of how we would run a clinic, and we really couldn't have done it without the support of certainly Ansonia. And of course, Mayor Cassetti is always there supporting our efforts. He also came to the 70 Woodlawn location. One of the other great things is we pulled a team to a few of the clinics because we really wanted also to use that opportunity to address some of the social needs that some residents may be having. So team has also been a partner at least 3 of the clinics that we ran at the Armory to sort of be just a setup and a resource for folks who might need some assistance. One of the other things we did is we also had some food boxes from the Salvation Army. We had about 40 extra food boxes from another initiative with the Department of Agriculture. So we had those boxes, we brought them to Ansonia, to the Armory, and really by the end of the day, those boxes were gone. And again, it just shows the way that we could work together to really meet the needs of the residents. So thank you guys for a really great partnership, and hopefully we'll have more opportunities to partner on other great initiatives to improve the health of our community. So thank you.
Now, truth be told, it was kind of a surprise to us that you were recognizing us tonight. I had asked the mayor and Sheila and John for some time to talk to you tonight because we have a proposal for you. And this is our way of saying thank you to the city of Ansonia for this fantastic partnership. So John, maybe if you go to the next slide. So we had an opportunity to spend a fair amount of time in the Armory. And, you know, the next slide shows some of the activity that occurred there. Remember, I said that in one of our vaccination clinics, we vaccinated in a single day more than 700 individuals. And that was right on your gymnasium floor. And, you know, I felt like we should take our shoes off and walk around on our socks because we didn't want to damage your gymnasium floor. But we did notice that, you know, the floor had some wear and tear. And our team started to talk about how we can, one, thank you. Again, you didn't charge us rent, by the way, to be in the Armory. And in addition to that, you allowed us to use Nolan Field for overflow parking because that tent that you showed in the earlier slide that John showed for our drive-through vaccination clinic took up a lot of parking on campus. So we needed to create more parking capacity, and the city was gracious enough to allow us to use Nolan Field for employee parking. He didn't charge us for that either. So we said, listen, how can we give back? And the more that time we spent at the Armory and learned about what an important community asset it is, the fact that, for instance, the Ansonia and Derby Youth Basketball League actually has its games there. We said, you know, we want to give back. We want to do some work on the Armory. So maybe if you go to the next slide, I think there's one more of the clinic, and then the next one to follow. These are those statistics that John already gave, maybe the next slide. And then the very next one. So this is it's actually an earlier picture. I think the court was in a little bit better shape at the time, but this is a good perspective. There are a couple of things we noticed. We noticed that the backstops had a few years on them. And one thing that I noticed is the padding, which is supposed to be soft to protect children who might run into those backstops, was pretty hard. And I thought that was dangerous. And then we had noticed that there was a wall added on the entry end of the court on the far side that came pretty close to the sideline. So unless kids had good body control, they could actually run into that wall. So that kind of stuck with me. Maybe the next slide. Another view. And so what we decided is to kind of put together a project that we would like to propose to you as our gift to the city. So what we're proposing is to restore the gym floor, to paint the entire Armory, the interior, walls and ceiling, to bring in college or NCAA quality backstops with the appropriate padding. And as far as padding, add some padding to that sidewall to prevent injury for children and to the children that play there. And we, you know, if Griffin was going to do it, we wanted to make sure that we did it right. So we looked for the best gym floor restoration company on the East Coast. I think the next slide. It's called J&J Gym Floors. They've done over 1,700 projects, including NBA and NCAA basketball courts. So what they would do is come in probably next month and completely strip down the floor, repaint it, and put 7 coats of finish on the floor. I think we have a little video about 1.5 minutes long that shows that restoration process. But when it's done, it would incorporate the city's new logo on the center court. This is kind of a artist rendering of what it would look like. The next slide. This is what the restoration project, actually the restoration effort, the next slide, would look like. And we would have to replace some boards in the floor that are cracked, but this is what it looks like. The team would come in with ride-on sanders. They would strip the floor down bare, and then they would put a couple of coats on and then start to lay out the lines and put 3 or 4 more finish coats after painting that center court logo. It's about a week-long process, maybe a little bit longer than that. Obviously, this is your logos and branding, but you would have what I showed you in the earlier. And we'll do some time-lapse photography of this project so we could have it to commemorate the work that's done. So the next slide, we'll talk about a couple of the other elements. So when we're done with the floor, given that people probably won't want to take their shoes off and walk around in their socks once it's done, we're also going to be purchasing and donating to the city a protective covering that actually is in squares that can be put down and removed easily. And it comes with carts that can be transported in and out of the gym so that it's easy to cover it for other events. And I now know that so many other events are actually held at the Armory. So we want this project to last, and the best way to do it is protect the work that's done. Next slide. We had an interior designer help us with the color scheme to coordinate with the logo in center court. Obviously, the digital imaging isn't going to be the exact representation of the colors, but we're proposing sort of a light gray where you have that robin's egg blue now, a blue band that runs around above that, including the edge of the balcony, and then white above up into the top of the wall and the ceiling, and then the wall padding that we're going to add on that one wall that comes close to the sideline would be gray padding. And again, Griffin would be donating all of that work to the city. Next slide. This is what that padding, wall padding would look like, obviously without those logos on it. And again, that would be on the side court. Next slide. These are what the backstops that we would be donating to the city look like. I understand that the ones that are there now are pretty difficult to move. These are collapsible. There's a multi-spring system. One individual can collapse them down and transport them in and out easily, easily in and out of the Armory or from one end to the other. And they're height adjustable, so if you wanted to lower them for youth basketball, you can do that as well. Next slide. So this is putting it all together. This is with the logo, this is the backstop, and those are the floor covering with the carts that I talked about. In addition, we would be actually restoring the floors at the entry to the Armory, as well as doing some work in the bathrooms. The public restrooms need a little bit of work, and we'll try and freshen those up as well. Next slide. Once we create a beautiful space on the inside with a brand new gym floor, backstops, padding, and paint, we start to look at the outside. And this is an iconic building. It's a true landmark, but it's gotten a little tired. The exterior is a little bit dirty, and it's not well lit at night. So we're proposing, in addition to the work I talked about on the inside, is to bring in next slide, Armani Restoration to actually do a masonry cleaning of the entire exterior of the building, the south face, which faces Main Street, and the east face that faces North Cliff Street, and then this north face, which faces the parking lot in Assumption Church. Armani Restoration is a company that's very, very capable. They did the Waterbury City Hall restoration, and they actually did a Yankee Stadium restoration as well. Figured if we're going to work in Ansonia, we've got to get the best. So we're bringing in the folks who did Yankee Stadium. And then when that's done, you're going to have a beautifully clean building, but then we want people to know that it's beautiful. So we're also proposing to, next slide, to add exterior lighting to the building. And so we, excuse me, we did a fair amount of research, and we found two companies, Lightcraft. Lightcraft is a regional company, but they have offices in New Haven. And probably the project that they've done that you recognize is the Soldier and Sailors Memorial, which is at the top of East Rock. So you can see that from 91 and most of New Haven. So they did that lighting. And we also talked to a company called Klein Betteridge Bernstein. They're a New York-based company, and we like them a lot, but we thought it might be a little bit difficult working with a New York company, and we'd better off working with somebody that's right here in Connecticut. That they lit Belvedere Castle, which is actually in Central Park. I saw that project, and it's very impressive. But I think we're going to go with Lightcraft. They're going to do the lighting design, and it'll be a combination of what we call wash lighting. That would be on the east face facing North Cliff Street, and then layered lighting, which would be the south face, the image that I showed you before. And that layered lighting would be trying to highlight all of the unique architectural elements of the building, including the turret. And this would be all LED lighting, low energy consumption, very long-lasting fixtures. So we would be paying for the lighting design. And we've already talked to the mayor about reaching out to other companies in Ansonia to see if they would pitch in and help purchase the lighting fixtures and the installation. The Lightcraft engineers were already out to the building last week. We met by somebody from Public Works and already kind of traced out where the circuits are and make sure that everything's accessible. And this is very doable. Next slide. We were talking about, the history of Ansonia basketball, and we learned a little bit about the Ansonia Norwoods and a player they had, a player named Bill Spivey, who was 7 feet tall, and he received a lot of notoriety. He was involved in a bit of a scandal in college and couldn't play professional sports, but he played semi-pro in Ansonia with the Norwoods. And he was 7 foot tall. So we were going to talk a little bit about the history of basketball in Ansonia, both high school and maybe the Norwoods. We were thinking to put a full-size 7 foot tall image of Bill Spivey at the entrance, so that when kids come in, they could have their picture taken with a 7-footer and see how they are relative to somebody that tall, and maybe some other things like that. That's kind of just a concept, but I thought that would be interesting. And I know that there are historians in town that might be able to fill in some of the gaps about that. But that's what we're proposing. It's our way of saying thank you. It's a way of promoting healthy activity in the community. It's a safe place for kids to come. And we're glad to do it if you'll allow us. And I can answer any questions you have about it.
Let me first say, Pat, on behalf of the mayor and the Board of Aldermen, thank you so much for this generous proposal. When the mayor was first informed, first of all, he was very surprised. He was pretty shocked. His eyes lit up, and really for days afterwards, he could not stop talking about what this project would really mean for the community, but the kids especially. We've been trying to utilize that facility more and more as a place for both recreation and entertainment. Kids get so much out of it, and this makes it all really so much better. It really gives them a great, safe, and really spectacular place to take pride in and to have fun in. We couldn't thank you enough for the vaccination clinics, which, right, bottom line, save lives. That partnership saved lives, and really without Griffin here, we don't think we would have done as much good. And this project, we talk a lot about quality of life. This is a big one in terms of giving back to the community. So thank you so, so much. And I'm sure our Board of Aldermen and certainly the mayor, we all feel that way.
Thank you, John. I mean, if anybody has any questions about what we're proposing to do, happy to try and answer them.
If I could just add a comment. For those that know me, I'm generally not speechless, and I'm speechless. Completely speechless.
Thank God.
Yeah. Seriously, Chicago. My mind is completely blown. This is beyond generous. This is just ridiculously good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yeah. Pat, this is Diane. Thank you so very, very much, but I'm not surprised because I know you and I know how you go above and beyond and above. Thank you so very, very much.
Oh, thank you, Diane. It's very nice of you to say.
I want to thank you too. It came down to the shots. The hospital actually called me and set me up. And then the whole family went to the armory after. So I just want to thank the hospital for all that they do.
Thank you. Thank you. And, one of the things that we love about this is that, it's a resource for the whole community. I mean, the fact that it's the Ansonia Derby Youth Basketball program that actually runs out of the Armory, that's wonderful, because I'm sure when Derby's mayor hears about this, he's going to be saying, hey, and I'm going to make sure that he knows that residents of Derby benefit from this as well. So we're looking forward to get started. We're hoping to actually start the project the last week in July, and it'll run through most of the month of August. Hopefully it'll be done in September.
Excellent. And maybe the first game, Pat, we didn't tell you, but possibly the city officials may want to take on Griffin Health.
Oh, wow.
In the very first, I don't know what the wager would be.
You guys look tough to beat.
What the wager would be about that, but got to have some opening contest there to commemorate.
Again, we're really looking forward to this. We're really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great project, and it's a great building. Everybody that we brought in to kind of be part of this project, commented about, with a little tender loving care, this, really can be brought back to being a real jewel for the community.
John, can I say something? I would like to thank you myself, but the most important thing here is I can imagine how many lives that Griffin Hospital and the mayor and everybody with these clinics saved. We got to look at that too, and I would like to thank you because I'm sure you did save a lot of lives and a lot of people from getting sick through this terrible time. This is tremendous what you're doing, and thank you so much.
Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'll make sure I convey this to our entire Griffin family, because again, all of this work was kind of a labor of love.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Patrick, to your entire team, thank them very much. It was so appreciated. All of that work went such a long way. We hope it's only the next step in our partnership with Griffin in our community. And there's many more chapters to write. So, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And we'll all be in touch soon.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Bye.
John, do we need anything on that?
No, we don't. We don't at this point.
Okay.
Motion to embrace project.
Second.
Second. Yeah, right. When you're starting.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
It's amazing.
It really is.
I can say I sent my whole family through those clinics, and they were so well run. So
yeah, yes, it mine too. motion to go into executive session.
We have one more item.
Okay.
Old business, and then we have executive session. We have one item under old business. We discussed this actually at the same meeting as the that 31 South Street. They both were October 13th, 2020. This was a request. There was a request prior to that meeting from the residents of Hughes Circle, which is the street just past Mead School. It's a short little hill there. And their request was to make Hughes Circle, which is a dead end, no outlet road, to be considered a city road. Currently, all the tenants on that street pay a homeowners association fee on top of their taxes, their municipal taxes. And so then on October 13th, we did send it for an 824 referral to the planning and zoning. It came back with a positive 824 referral. I'm just reading the notes from October 13th, 2020. The Planning and Zoning Commission has returned a favorable answer to the Alderman's 824 referral to make Hughes Circle a city street. Mr. DeLassio, Corporation Counsel Marini, and all the commissioners were in favor, noting that the road is in very good shape. At that point, we had a motion and a second to approve that. Then we had a bunch of discussion, at which point the motion and second were rescinded. And we sent it back to land use to get more information. And asked a bunch of questions about whether they had separate PO boxes. This is the old Nike site, military site, and so the residents were saying that they pay their taxes and then they pay an association fee to cover the road and the lighting and whatnot. So there were a bunch of questions from the residents or from the aldermen regarding maintenance of the road, trash, sewers. So it went to the city planner, Dave Elder, it went to city staff, and all those questions were asked to the residents. July 7th, the mayor asked Alderman DeLibero, who represents that district, and I attended that meeting as well as Tracy DeLibero. And there were half of the houses on that street were represented. There were 2, 4, 6, 8 residents for the 16 houses at this meeting with the mayor and alderman, and it was just a discussion regarding the structure of this homeowners association. And bottom line was, after kind of going through all those questions, I asked them what is the desire of this group, like what are you trying to do? And they said, we want to dissolve this homeowners association completely and be treated as a regular city road, which they're already paying for. So that was July 7th, and that's where it stands as of today. So just sort of bringing that back up again because of the recent meeting. And like I said, this has sort of been kicking around since October 13, 2020. Any discussions or? Yeah.
I would like to make a motion.
Who's that?
Frank. That was
I
Frank.
got a question first.
Oh, what's Diane had a question first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is this: if we vote to make it a city road, does that then dissolve the homes association?
Yeah, I asked that. I said, what would you have? I said, if you declare this a city road, we would immediately, on our own dime, hire a lawyer to go through the process of dissolving this association.
That's what
They would.
That's what they would do. They would do that on their own.
Okay.
So I think if we were to do anything, it would be contingent on them actually dissolving that.
Okay.
Okay,
I was gonna say, we checked the questions from the city planner regarding like all the houses have their own PO box, their own hookups. The mayor and Public Works inspected the road and the sewers and whatnot. Yeah, go ahead, Chicago.
All right, my question is that, being that they had this, were their houses actually, assessed, a little under because of this, HO?
That I don't know, but I would hope that if we do go with this, that we would ensure that that's the case, to protect ourselves. In other words, you know, you said if there's a discounted
Right.
assessment that's being made up. Any other comments?
My only question was, is there is each house on WPCA hooked up separately? And just making sure, as opposed to hooked up to the homeowners association and then they pay the WPCA fee through the homeowners association?
No, each home pays their own water.
Okay.
I asked Tracy today. She said they send bills out to Hughes Circle, to the individual houses.
Who's been maintaining the road, like plowing and?
We have.
The association, the association.
So they were not on ours.
So
Did we get confirmation on that? I mean, that would be the only reason I could think of. The main reason to have an association would be to take care of a road that the city wasn't taking care of. But I'm not sure if we had a definitive answer. It would certainly be interesting if the city had involvement. Sheila, did you know? Did you get confirmation?
The president of the association
Yes.
told us that night that their association fees pay for maintenance of the road and the light.
Plowing.
Yeah,
and-
that makes complete sense.
It's like a condo. It's essentially a condo association.
Does this then require an 824 since we're essentially purchasing property?
No, they already had an 824.
Yeah, that was already completed.
For the road, and if that's the case, is this a deed transfer to the city where we have to draft up something to take?
No, they want to dissolve. They want to dissolve.
I
I
understand
don't believe
that.
there's a deed to the road. It may be a matter of looking at the deeds to ensure that that road isn't on any of the individual deeds, because it would be a city road. And if that's the case, we'd have a little more restructuring to do. But to the best of our knowledge, it's sort of like a common property that is not actually on anyone's deed. It's just, space that they've adopted as their road.
Well, then I guess that's my question, is that being that it's a land transfer, obviously we have it, depending on if it's not owned by anyone at that point in time, how is the city taking, I mean, we can maintain it, sure, but who's taking control of it for liability purposes?
We would know. If it's a city road, it's us.
Yeah, if it's a city road, it's us, but if it's a part of the homeowners association, that has to be basically deeded to us in writing and we have to accept it and take it. Yeah, so.
So they pay for their own trash pickup also, so we'd have to add them to the city, I guess.
No, they're all, the city takes care of both, the trash pickup and the plowing.
Currently?
Yes. Yes.
My son lives on the street, so I.
Beth, do you know, can you confirm that the assessments are 100%? You know, that there's not a discounted assessment or home values on those? I didn't get the impression that there was.
No.
It was like mortgage plus homeowners association.
Right.
Cover the other stuff. And if they remove the homeowners association, their municipal taxes are already paying for plowing, garbage pickup, all that other stuff, just like any other resident who lives on a city road.
Right. The
So they're
remainder
just
of
getting
what
the
they're
maintenance.
paying was just paying for the street light,
street.
from what I understand.
Right.
Oh, we did go up there and the mayor looked at the road. He said he thought the road was in good shape. He said it looked like the drain went, traveled well to the bottom. Some of the questions that were brought up by the city planner were like, will the city be on the hook for signage replacement? And there's literally one sign at the bottom of the hill that says no outlet, dead end or whatever. There's not a slew of signs in there. It's a straight up hill. All the houses were built at the same time, look the same. So I'm trying to give you as much information as Frank and I and the mayor gleaned from that meeting. But
Well, I would just say, if we're going to do this, I guess it should be contingent upon dissolution of the homeowners association, obviously, and any required execution to deed over the road if necessary, and that the homeowners association would pay for any legal costs necessary for the drafting of those documents. You know, that would be my only comment about this, is that if we're going to do this, the homeowners association should.
Is that a
pay.
motion? Is that a motion?
Yeah, no, I was just making a comment. I was just making the comment.
Frank, what'd you say?
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a motion to make Hughes Circle a city street contingent on the residents being able to break the homeowners association agreement.
And what did you say? Do you want to add what Joe just mentioned? Well,
I have that.
Trish has got it.
He added
Contingent
it.
contingent upon the dissolution of the homeowners association and anything necessary to deed the road, and the homeowners association would pay for any legal cost related to effectuating that.
that's exactly what Frank said, right?
Yep, I'll second it then.
Motion by DeLibero, second by Chicago. Any further discussion on this? Or questions? All right, let's vote. In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. And I guess the ball's in their court now. They would have to hold up their end of the bargain and dissolve their HOA. Thanks. All right, so Chicago, we are at your favorite spot.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second by?
I'll second it.
Second by Stroman. All in favor? Let's roll. We have 4 items.
You must
And
out, John.
who do we need, John, besides the 2 of you? Anybody?
Yes, no one else besides.
Rhonda, do you need Rhonda?
I don't, I guess if there's a,
Yes.
she could talk on the blight matter.
Yeah, for the first item, if she's here.
Ron, you're on, right? Rhonda? She was on.
She's there. I see her name.
There.
All right, throw.
Diane, don't
Fingers
get lost.
I got
Fingers
it.
crossed,
Don't get
Diane.
lost.
Oh, Lord, what happened? I lost it.
Yeah, mine
Hold on.
disappeared too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hold on.
mine too.
Mine went off.
Yeah,
mine
hold on, I'm
too.
redoing it.
Di,
I'm still here.
we did not join.
No, we're not going anywhere. Don't disregard that.
Okay. I was like, oh no, it's not good.
I got my finger on the pulse.
Me too.
Just in
Apologies,
case.
Diane. So if you
Just
get
in
lost-
case.
John, can you hear me?
Yep.
John, if I get cut out of this, can you send me the recording in the morning?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm having a terrible time tonight with my internet.
What do you have, Trish?
Oh, I have this Orbi system hooked up to whatever. I don't even know. I don't know. But it's called Orbi and it keeps disconnecting.
What just happened?
We all got kicked out.
I don't know.
You're having some problems.
It said we're being recorded.
We got returned back to the main session.
Hello? Okay, I'll be right there. All right. Bye.
Where you going, Diane?
Oh, sorry. I'm mute.
You'll be right there, you said. Where are you
Yeah,
going?
yeah, that's what I'm
Pizza
saying. Where
guy's
you going?
outside.
Oh, okay.
The
That's a
guy's
good-
outside.
Good reason.
We all back?
Everybody's back.
Everybody's back.
1, 2, 3.
10.
All right. All right, so we need a motion to return to regular session.
Yeah, I make a
Pardon?
motion.
Motion by Rivers,
Second.
second by Yaman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say, okay. All right, so we had 4 items from executive session. I will just read these and then we can vote. So item number 1, the issue of Frank LaFauci versus City of Ansonia, RE 40 Holbrook Court blight lien release.
Motion to take no action.
Second.
Motion to take no action by Alderman Yaman, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, carries unanimously. And the item number 2, Scott Diaz versus City of Ansonia.
Motion to deny the settlement offer.
Motion to deny settlement offer by Alderman Yaman. Do we have a second? Bill, I think you're on mute. Yeah, but second by Alderman Phipps. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 3, Public Works CBA.
Motion to approve and give the mayor the authority to execute the final agreement.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Rivers to give the mayor authority to execute the final documents. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion passes unanimously. And the last item, number 4, potential lease regarding Ansonia Opera House.
Motion to authorize council to proceed with discussions.
All right, motion to continue discussions by Alderman Yaman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phipps. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion passes. Thank you all.
The Libra, it's your time.
Yeah, Frank.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by DeLibero, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye.
Everybody-